Good morning, good afternoon to each and every one of you, wherever you may be. Let me first and foremost thank all of you for your resilience and steadfastness in the face of the brutality of the enemy. Not long ago, we watched with dismay the lifeless body of General Ayaba being displayed as a bounty of war, as a colonial trophy by the occupier in the great state of Meme. Less than a year ago, we also observed with dismay the display of the body of General Ayaba. And yesterday, it was the body of General Spirito. At a time when the international community has expressed its dismay and condemned the brutality of Cameroun, they take the bodies of freedom fighters in a cause internationally recognized in a territory they occupied and display them as a bounty and trophy of war. We have conducted ourselves in the past 4 years with utmost respect for the sanctity of life, the protection of human dignity for everyone within the territory of Amazonia and any area within its jurisdiction, be they Nigerians, be they Cameroonians. We have conducted ourselves that way because we understand the importance of fighting a war of liberation with respect to international norms. Because if you want to become part of the international system, if you don't want to be seen as a pariah, you must show yourself as someone being able to respect international rules, be they customary norms or international treaty obligations. Despite not being signatory to the 1949 Geneva Conventions, we have respected its spirit to the letter. Cameroun has continuously perpetrated crimes against humanity within our country. It has kidnapped and disappeared many commanders and soldiers. It has kidnapped and disappeared thousands of civilians. Some have been murdered and buried in unmarked graves. It has orchestrated systematic rape and instituted rape as a policy of war. It has arrested, subjected to torture, and decapitated Amazonian civilians. It has burned down hundreds of villages in a scorched earth policy to intimidate and terrorize our people to submission. It has continued with its carnage in our suburbs and our cities. Its impunity is systematic and as part of a policy of terrorism designed specifically to achieve a political objective of occupation without consent. The world must take note of the actions of the colonial representatives of Cameroon within our territory. The SDO of Meme, who parades on our streets the lifeless bodies of our fallen heroes. Let Cameroon understand it takes a single call for retribution for its citizens within our territory to feel the same pain that we have been feeling in the past 4 years. We are not interested in a dirty war. We are not interested in acts of terrorism. We are not interested in conducting ourselves in the same way as the state which we are rebelling against. We want to show ourselves as an example of a people who have been unjustly afflicted with impunity, but who can rise above that sense of awe and dismay and show a new pathway forward. Let Cameroon understand we also have the ability to get their soldiers, take them out, and display their body as a bounty of war. Let Cameroon understand we have the ability within our territory and within theirs to conduct operations that might subject its people to the kind of terror that they have subjected our people to. My fellow Ambazonians, dear commanders on the ground, in the past days, I gave an extensive interview on the importance of the Stabilization Plan. The Stabilization Plan is a counter to Cameroon's destabilization. The Stabilization Plan is a strategy to stabilize the ungovernable spaces created by the demise of Cameroon. The Stabilization Plan is a plan that projects certainty, power, and confidence in the way we conduct our liberation struggle. I am glad to see that there is increased collaboration amongst you, the fighters on the ground. You have to continue in that spirit. You have to make sure you increase your collaboration in areas of intelligence sharing, offensive and defensive operations, and other actions. It is only by projecting power and improving on these networks of collaboration that we can undermine the ability of the enemy to use enablers and defectors to infiltrate behind our lines and take out commanders. In the coming days, we will be increasing our budget to ensure that we can support forces, even those that do not fight under the command structure of the Amazonian Defense Forces. No bloc must be weakened. As I advised my Defense and War Council yesterday, a weakened bloc stretches the Amazonian Defense Forces to ensure the protection of that bloc. Any bloc weakened gives Cameroon the opportunity to infiltrate, establish itself, and use that bloc as an operations center to attack other blocs. That is why we must ensure that every bloc within the Amazonian territory is strengthened. I want to appeal to each and every one of you to be focused in asserting your right to self-determination by the use of force. This does not in any way negate our preparedness and our commitment to an internationally supervised negotiation to end Cameroon's tenure within our land. At a time when the international community is poised, there is no bragging right out there to tell who you met in Cameroon, which butcher you dine with. The only bragging right we have is to be able to demonstrate our ability to defend the lives of our people, protect the independence that was restored, and to ensure we end Cameroon's impunity within our homeland. That is the central focus of my leadership. And I hope to God Almighty that all of you will remain as doggedly focused to this agenda as possible. That is the only way you free a homeland. That is the only way you deter the impunity of the occupier. And that's the only way you demonstrate strength to be able to assure friends and enemies that you are ready to sacrifice for your country. My fellow countrymen and women, as I said in New York a couple of years back, a liberation struggle is not a walk in the park. We've come thus far through struggle, through resistance, through collective sacrifice, and we must maintain that status to ensure that we can write the history of Cameroon in our land in the shortest time possible. On the 27th, we will be launching officially phase 2 of the stabilization. It is a strategic plan that will stabilize the liberation phase and ensure that those who will bat for us at the level of the international community have the backing in terms of forward movement in our agenda for liberation. For all those who continue to parade the dead bodies of our fighters, remember this: the Amazonian people will not have a Truth and Reconciliation Committee. You will be held accountable. We are a generation that never forgets. For the pain you've imposed, for the sacrilege, for trampling on our sacred places, for humiliating even the dead bodies of our people, decapitating our civilians, instituting rape as a systematic policy of terror to deter our people, burning down our villages and making our people homeless, displacing millions of our people, girls and women giving birth in the bushes, indiscriminately arresting our boys, disappearing our young men, murdering our patriots. We will resist you until your tenure in Amazonia comes to an end. This is a pledge we have made to those who have died, to families who've lost loved ones, to all those who have imbued pain and tragedy for the past 60 years. This is a pledge we've made to our forebears who tried desperately to coexist with you, were humiliated and murdered. This is a pledge we make to all oppressed people across our shores. God bless Amazonia.
Amazonia, special loyalty, presence of our Savior who granted us the freedom, and left to the hero who brought the lonely gather. Glory to glory, we rise and never to fall. Here in a nation, flowing with earth and holy. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation, a joy forevermore. Amazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation. Amazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our need, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God being the watchman of this nation.
This has been a live address by the leader of the Amazonia War of Independence. Thanks for staying with ACN, the Liberation TV of Amazonia. Welcome to ACN. The Liberation TV of Ambazonia.